Right. So, I'm going to take a crack at talking about compassion. So, I'm reading this book right now called Embraining, and it's about aligning our 3 intelligence centers, which is our head, which is what most of us are stuck in, our heart, and our gut. And as you get deeper into this book, it says the highest expression of ourselves is compassion. I like to start with the end, because otherwise I tend to lose the plot and go so fucking far off track you can't even figure out what I'm trying to convey. But compassion, yeah. What I've realized is compassion is just how I'm wired. I'm innately compassionate. But, so you're thinking, well, why the fuck are you talking about it then? Because it's easy to forget that I'm compassionate when I am fucking super pissed off at somebody. And everybody knows what this is like, right? How many sayings do we have, to forgive is to forget. And, to just let it go. Just let it go. The 4 words that I would strip from the English language in all languages if I could. Just let it go. Fuck off with your just let it go. Letting go is a process and it takes time. And compassion is actually a really, really key part of that process, at least for me. So I've been talking to some friends about this situation I'm in with this person who I feel has done me wrong. Long story short, and the conclusion of, months and months of struggles. I feel like this person has greatly abused their power over me and continues to do so. And I've found really interesting ways of trying to run from the situation. I've tried to throw money at it to make it go away. I've tried to shift around. And I won't say how, because it would give the situation too much clarity, and I need to remain vague. But I've physically tried to remove myself from the situation. I've tried, mentally removing myself, like literally just stonewalling them, and the whole time, fucking truck, man, I can't. See, there I go, getting pissed. The trucks are going by, and you can hear it when I always record these while I'm walking, so whose fault is it? And fault, yes. Let's talk about that for a second, how it amalgamates with compassion. So let me back up to when the light bulb went off for me. I'm reading this book, Embraining, and it talks about compassion being the highest form of expression. And mainly of the heart, because the heart is the ruler of compassion, right? Well, I have pretty chronically suppressed anything to do with emotions and heartfelt emotions throughout my life for various reasons that I no doubt get into in articles and other recordings and whatnot. But the long and short of the story is I've always tried to be compassionate, and it comes through as me trying to please people. But I've always gone a little bit off the rails with that concept and pleased everybody else before pleasing myself. And, if you've read any self-help shit, you've always heard you can't drink from an empty cup. And here comes another truck. Hello, truck. Fuck off. Alright, cool. can't drink from an empty cup. So if you don't know how to take care of yourself, you can't take care of anybody else. And if you don't know how to keep yourself happy or peaceful, then, our chances of doing it for others is pretty much nil. So the first kind of point that this book makes is the first person you need to find compassion for is yourself. And I'm like, oh, yep, totally. I dig that. I am in that space. I've been in that space for probably the last year and a half. I've worked super hard on finding compassion for myself and a way to forgive myself for the things that I think I've done wrong over my life. Which I won't list, but you'd think, wow, that's weird. Why do you think that that's your fault? Because victim blaming is very common. Something bad happens to us and we think, what did I do to make that happen to me? Now that's only a certain percentage of the population is prone to those thought patterns, and I am one of them. So that's what that looks like. So anyway, a year and a half of hard work to find compassion for myself. What does that look like? Well, for me, it looked like sitting in my closet and screaming at myself, trying to figure out why I punish myself for things, and talking to praying mantises. Some people choose to just go to a fucking therapist. To each their own. Therapists cost money, so I went the self-help route. So yes, worked hard on it. Lots of love and compassion for myself. But there again, I probably overcorrected. Because now, when I feel like someone else has hurt me, I tend to say, compassion for myself, check. Fuck them. Fuck them and for abusing me in the way that I think that they've abused me. So yeah, that's probably an overcorrection on my part. So focused on feeling compassion for myself and listening to that victim voice that there's a whole lot of fuck you in there. So these friends that I was talking to over time, they kept reminding me that my energy was blocked, like my heart energy was not flowing. I was not expressing myself. I'm like, what do you mean I'm not expressing myself? What do you want me to say? I'm mad about this. I'm not ready to get over it. And then something occurred to me this morning. How we express compassion doesn't have to be verbal. Me, because I'm obviously a huge talker, I always think, oh, I have to express myself. That means I'm not speaking my truth. I'm not talking about things. But expression can mean whatever we want it to mean. Expression can be a kind look. It can be a kind word. It can be a gift. It can be anything. Anything that we choose it to be. So long as it's a heartfelt expression of compassion, then that'll suit. No need to overthink it. But I tend to overthink everything. So, there you go. That's why I record this shit, so I can talk it out in my brain. So, how do I find compassion for this person? Well, it's not hard. Oh, and I don't think I actually closed the loop on that circle. When that book was like, okay, when you've got the self-compassion thing on lock, think of people that you need to forgive and expand that compassion to them. And two people, like, boom, boom, right? Oh, that intuition just fired up. It was like, hey, here's these two people that you're holding resentments again. And once upon a time, I wrote a blog article about the definition of resentment that I liked very much. And holding resentment is like swallowing poison every day and expecting it to kill someone else. Creates quite a visual image, doesn't it? I'm drinking the poison of resentment every day and expecting it to kill these people who I feel have done me wrong. For whatever reason. It's the two reasons are vastly different. But to this person who I feel has, abused their power over me, and taken that away from me, how can I feel compassion for them? Well, if I sit down, it's really about shadow casting. Everything in them that I find disgusting are things that I just really don't like about myself. The fact of the matter is that we are very, very similar, this person and I. So when I feel like she's abused that power, I'm really just saying, it's that part of me that has also abused power over people previously, that in insecurities that you can feel but can't really articulate. I can't really explain how this person is acting insecurely, but what I know is that people only abuse power if they feel deep down like it's been taken away from them in some way. So they have to compensate by taking power from other people. It's classic display of insecurity. It's not hard for me to feel compassion because we're both just people and we both know what it's like to have that power taken away from us. And I've done a lot of healing work so that I don't display those behaviors. But there again, think, feel, do. If you're subconsciously thinking, I don't have enough power, and you feel powerless, then the behaviors we display are going to try to compensate for that. And we can very, very easily overcompensate and just start shitting all over people to take power away from them because we think that it gives it to us, but it's never enough. Because the underlying thought of, I don't have enough power, I don't have enough control, is always going to be there. It doesn't matter how big a shit you take on other people, or how much money you have, or how much power you have. You can be the CEO of the biggest fucking corporation in the world. It'll never be enough if that subconscious thought is still there. If you don't heal it, if you don't talk to it. Sorry, there I go saying you again. We, because I'm not. This is, okay, so compassion. The struggles and maybe the confusion and conflict that I'm having in myself right now, it'd be, I feel a need to blame it on someone else. And because this person is trying to do what I feel like that victim part of me that's felt like it's had some power taken away from me, then I want to blame them. It's their fault. It's not my fault. It's their fucking fault. Because as humans, we have to blame because there has to be a reason. We can't possibly put that trust and faith in the universe and say, you know what, there doesn't have to be a reason, it's just life. That's so fucking hard. It is so hard. It gives us no control whatsoever. So I've been having some really next level conflict in my brain over bits and pieces, and oh, look at that. I magically somehow assign the blame for that over there to this person who I feel has slighted me and taken my power away from me. Well, isn't that interesting? It has nothing to do with them. Has absolutely nothing to do with them. But my brain will go to the world's end and back to try to figure out how I can fucking say it's their fault. This is what it looks like. So when my friend keeps saying, just find a way to express yourself, find that compassion, my energy is blocked, things aren't moving, I feel uncomfortable and icky. It's because I am, and we all are, innately compassionate beings. So if we can't find compassion for others, then we're not actually expressing compassion for ourselves, because we're not recognizing that what we don't like in other people are our own shadows, things about ourselves that we don't like. And if we can't find compassion for them, then we're not actually practicing compassion for ourselves. Not really. Not for all of us. Not for the shit inside us that we don't like, which is just there to teach us. So there's no point in hating it, because I ain't going anywhere. In fact, the more we suppress our shadows, the more they rear their ugly heads. So, and I do want to just touch on one thing. We are compassionate beings. Let us not make the mistake of confusing compassion with sympathy. I have so much compassion because I look at other people and I say, you know what? Being a human's fucking tough. I know what you're going through, because we're both just people doing the best we can with the resources that we have. That's it. Every human on this earth is doing the best they can with the resources that they have. And that innate connection between us all allows us to feel compassion. That's why it's an expression of our true selves. Because we're all human. We all have that energy flowing through us. And just ignore that last bit if you don't believe in the hippy-dippy energy shit. But it's true anyway. And sympathy is something different. I have no fucking sympathy for people. And this is probably a failing in myself and something I'm going to have to face someday. I don't want to say a failing. It's something I struggle with. That's a fair assessment. Here's why I struggle with it. Sympathy. I'm so sorry that happened to you. I can't say that with authenticity, because I fundamentally believe that everything that happens is there to teach us. One of the best quotes I've seen on the Facebooks was a very simple quote that says, "The pain will leave you when it's done teaching you." You can say the same about fear. The fear will leave you when it's done teaching you. Every situation, no matter how horrific or no matter how phenomenal, is there to teach us more about ourselves. That's self-development. What do I like? What do I not like? What do I want to do? Who do I want to be when I grow up? I'm asking that myself at 34 years old. It's never too late to ask ourselves that. So no. If someone's mom died, I can't say with authenticity that I am sorry for them, because it's there to teach them. And their mother went home to the spirit world, so I don't feel bad for them either. No matter how bad a situation is or how great, just learn from it. I can't actually feel sorry. I might feel their pain, and I do. I'm empathic, so I will feel their pain, quite literally. But I'm not sorry it's there, because pain is a fantastic teacher. And look, if you want to hear the callous version of that, is we all make fucking decisions that land ourselves in the situations we're in. So if nothing else, if we're in a shit situation, it's probably not a bad thing to give a think to, what behavior patterns and cycles in my life have landed me in this situation? And has it happened before? Am I making shitty decisions? Am I making decisions that don't actually make me happy? Where I'm doing something out of a sense of obligation or because it's what's expected of me from society or a partner or a kid or my friend or fucking blah, blah, blah. All right, I'm drawing a blank. It's time to wrap this up. Compassion, people. Highest form of expression of self.